Post Malone, 12 Carat Toothache, pop mega superstar, Post Malone. Man, when Post Malone first started, if you had told me this is what he was going to become, how big he's going to become, I would have called you a liar. I can't believe this guy is this famous.
When you heard White Iverson, you weren't thinking that guy would release an album that was the 7th best-selling album of 2019 and also the 6th best-selling album of 2020? You didn't think that when you listened to White Iverson?
I can't imagine anyone did, right? I mean, he is just an absolute, like I said, megastar. And
it's crazy.
I think there's a lot to like about him in terms of his persona. It's like he seems like a really likable guy and just kind of fun, and he seems kind of like himself.
He's just someone you want to have a beer with.
Yeah,
I'd vote for him. That's kind of the vibe, right?
It definitely is. He's the kind of guy that if he walked into your party, you would look at him at first and be like, "Oh, what's up with this guy?" And then he would crack a beer and do something funny, and be like, "Oh, okay, this guy's pretty cool. I'm down with that." But does he make good music, Dave? Does Post Malone make good music? And that laugh tells me that you probably don't think so.
Well, as you said, he makes popular music. Hollywood's Bleeding, the last record, came out in fall 2019. Had the pleasure of listening to that album in Budapest. It was definitely made for an interesting stroll. But somehow, against all odds, he's just so popular. He's tied with Bieber for having the most songs in the top 100 most streamed songs on Spotify, with 6 apiece. Crazy. Rockstar, the number 4 most streamed song on Spotify, over 2 billion streams. He's just
Sunflower, only 100 million streams behind it. Insane.
Yeah, Sunflower's number 7. He's the only one with 2 in the top 10. And Circles, which was the big track from Hollywood's Bleeding, which got a Record and Song of the Year nomination, is number 30. He just has done some huge numbers. He's such a huge radio presence, such a huge playlist presence. And yet, I've been consistent with this because we've reviewed his last 2 records. I really don't think there's a whole lot going on with Post Malone's music. And to a lot of people, that's the appeal. They love this shit, But to me, I'm just very rarely impressed. And I feel like he goes in a deeper route sometimes and just never lands. When he does the more lighter fare, like Congratulations with Quavo, or Wow, which is basically a rap song. I like that stuff. That stuff's fun. But I'm not a Circles guy. I'm just kind of tired of Post Malone telling me how sad he is, because he just can't tell me in a way he hasn't already told me. We're really running on fumes with this shit, I feel like. However, I'd say 12 Carat Toothache at least is a bit more interesting and inviting on the production side of things, even if Post Malone himself, I think, is still kind of doing what he's always been doing. Or at least he's been doing the last few years, which is a complete pivot towards pop music and a completely departing hip-hop for good.
Yeah. It's funny because I just did not find myself really digging a lot of this. I agree. I think when he goes lighter, I definitely find it more palatable, something I can kind of just vibe with. But there's a lot of times when I just really can't get into it, and it's hard. A lot of these songs, like Cooped Up with Roddy Ricch, is one of the standouts from this. I think might have been a single, and
it was, yeah.
It just does not. It's hard for me to really sit with this and be like, oh, these are super relatable lyrics. I'm listening to a guy who, like you said, is just so he just makes music people, I guess, want to play over and over again. Has a lot of money, doing really well for himself. He's kind of he's had a couple of times where he's in movies and guest appearances and stuff. So he is just an absolute star, and he's talking about oh, I'm gonna burn it all down and start build up this lemon tree again, because I got the shit end of the stick in life. It's it's really hard to really relate to that, bro, because there's a lot of people who are a lot worse off than this. So that beginning, Reputation, Cooped Up, Lemon Tree was really tough for me. It gets a little bit better once you get a couple of the features, like Doja coming in. I think is a breath of fresh air to this album.
She's just so damn good right now, dude. What a great feature.
She's on a heater. She's absolutely unbelievable. I'm trying to think. He does a song with Fleet Foxes, which is just like super unexpected, and I don't know why Fleet Foxes did this.
Uh,
Like,
the
just
cash, brother.
I guess like they just never struck me as that kind of band either.
Right.
But then another standout was the feature from the weekend on One Right Now. I mean,
Yeah.
also another artist who every time he jumps on a track at the moment just crushes it. So
Funny enough, the one right now with the weekend came out last fall. I think it was.
yeah,
It's been out several months, and it wasn't actually as big a hit as probably people would have expected. I actually think it's pretty solid because it feels a bit more like a what the weekend's been up to than what Post Malone's been up to, and to me, that's more appealing. But I guess to Post Malone's fans, that wasn't more appealing. I don't know what to say. Yeah, I'm just really tired of the sad shit, honestly. And like clearly, when you have a song like Circles get absolutely rapidly consumed for 2 years almost and get Grammy nominations, like sure, you're gonna keep sticking to that lane. But it's just weird for me because he says that like the pandemic and being cooped up, was like the focus of this record, and he made this record in Malibu. But it's like I don't know, man. Like you were also hella sad on Hollywood's Bleeding, which you made before the pandemic. So like, what the fuck changed? I don't get it. I just don't get it. Like he he seems to be so having such a good time, and he has all these famous friends that love being around him, and I'm
hmm
sure he is a great time. He's really fun, and yet he couldn't be anything farther from it, as you said, when it comes to his actual music, and
yeah.
it's just very strange.
Yeah. Uh, it's funny. One of my favorite like songs from him. I guess I like the ones that, like I said, you can just vibe to. I like his cover of "Only Want to Be with You" they did for Pokemon. Was it Pokemon 25?
Yeah,
And I think that that's actually like a fun performance. He adds like his own twist to the song and sound, and he kind of fits that like Hootie and the Blowfish type vibe pretty well.
mm,
And like he could totally just be kind of making music similar to that. I mean, obviously Hootie is country, but if you put the like pop auto tune spin to it, you can be making these upbeat songs that just are catchy and fun and like bubblegum. But he really wants to go for this like introspective stuff, and I just don't know if he does it super well or in a way that's really makes sense. But
right.
I think when he gets a collaborator, he actually gives better performances. Like I think on that song with Doja, I think he actually sounds a little bit better to me on that, probably because he's opposite Doja and has to bring it a little bit more. You
Right,
know?
and also that's a trap beat, and
Yeah.
that's a song about him stealing someone's girl, and
Right.
Doja playing off that. So it's just lighter and more fun by default.
Mhm.
I mean, Louis Bell is all over this, producing and co-writing. That's been his signature collaborator for several albums now, and Louis Bell largely became a super producer and on in-demand producer on the back of his work with Post Malone. So he's working with the same people, but I would say that on a song like I Cannot Be with Gunna, that's an example of, I think, Louis Bell kind of elevating a song where Post Malone's kind of just doing his thing like he
Mhm.
always does, but the beat itself is just a bit more inviting, and the
Totally.
Gunna feature fits it really well, Free Gunna, where I think if he was working with someone else, it probably would have just sounded like a boring ass Post Malone song. But I think that's what I said before in the beginning. I think Louis Bell, even though he's always been there, he seems like a bit of the saving grace on this record. Where I liked listening to this one more than Hollywood's Bleeding. Not that I like either album, but like I just think the production, at least in fits and starts, there's just at least some more interesting things going on. Like on Lemon Tree, like yeah, Post Malone throwing in like country twang, like out of left field all of a sudden. But I don't know, it kind of fits because of the production.
Yeah. Uh, yeah. I don't really have a lot more to say about this, only because like listening to it, I just kind of had like this sounds a lot like what we've heard. Um, and I think this is just kind of the lane that he wants to stay in for now. It's been very profitable for him, and
Mm.
it's worked. But I do hope that we get some more fun tracks from him moving forward.
Yeah, something to watch too. If you check the Spotify Top 50 US chart or the global chart as well, you'll see that Post Malone isn't like dominating the top 20 spots the way like Harry
hmm
Styles was or Bad Bunny was.
Yep.
It's still Harry and Bad Bunny largely, right? So I'm curious to see just how popular this album will be. Like, we're going to see the first week sales go down because last time around the old bundling rules inflated the total.
Mhm.
I'm sure the Doja song will be a huge hit, but I'm curious to see what other songs are a huge hit too. Because as we said, the Weekend song did not blow up to the extent you would have expected after the way Hollywood's Bleeding went. So I'm just a bit curious to see how things go, or maybe there's a bit of people wanting something else. Who can say? So something to watch.
Well, drop us your thoughts on Post Malone and check out our Nostalgia Best of 2022 playlist.